In our previous video we looked at layers and we looked at the different layers and their properties. So if I open this up again, so we look at this file, we've got furniture, we've got a machine, and we know all about this now. So we know that all of these layers are switched on and they're unfrozen and they're unlocked. So basically we can pretty much edit whatever we want. And I know that if I click on this, I'm going to make my layer 0 the current layer. So I can close that down. And what we looked at inadvertently without realizing it was the properties of objects. So for example, each one of these objects, this circle or this square, they've got different properties. What I mean by that is that, you know, they're different colors, they're different line weights, they're different line types and styles. And really what I might want to do is I might want to start changing these as I'm working. So for example, it seems fairly obvious to me that these three elements here are tables. Okay, so I'll select each one of them. So they should really be on the furniture's layer. They shouldn't really be on the layer 0. So what I'll do is from this layer drop down here, now this is like a quick cheat, I'll click on the furniture layer. Okay, they have now been moved onto the furniture layer, and because they're highlighted, the furniture layer appears to be current. If I press escape, so I've deselected them, you'll notice that we'll flick back to the 0 layer, which was the layer that we were originally on. Now, I've also mentioned line type, or line weight rather, and if I click on these show hide, you can see that some of these elements have got quite thick walls, and that's because their line weight has been changed. You can see that up here under the properties. If I click on this object here, we've got properties for each one of these line weights, and in fact if I hover over that, we should have some information. Actually what I need is I need that turned on. If I hover over it, you can see we've got a line type, and actually that's saying it's being determined by the layer. So that's interesting. So if I'll deselect that, so perhaps we can change some of this by changing our options in our layer. So let's just have a look at that briefly, shall we? If I go to my layer properties up here, you can actually see that the walls layer is a little bit thicker. It's a 0.4. So what if I take my furniture and I change the line weight on that to be maybe 0.25 or maybe 0.3, and I click OK. Instantly as I do that, you can see these lines become a lot thicker and they're a lot bolder as you look at them on the drawing. Yeah, not very pretty. They'll come out a lot better when it gets plotted, but really that's all we really need at the moment. It's just to see that we can change those properties from inside our layer editor at the moment. Now what is interesting is that, say for example, these blocks here shouldn't really be on the furniture layer, so I'll just turn that off, otherwise it's going to get in the way. These should perhaps be on the machine layer. Now you can see here they look as if they should be on there, so what I'll do is I'll just change this and I'll click on machine, and instantly you notice because I've changed that layout, I've also changed the line weight and all the different properties for those objects. So in actual fact, really quite a simple way of just clicking backwards and forwards and changing those properties for each object. I mean, for example, we could even change some of these numbers. So I've got that 9 there. It's a machine label. I could change that to be text. Yeah, very, very simple. Very, very simple. No problems at all with that. So that in combination with what you've been doing, so this little drop down rather, in combination with your layer properties, can really help you control what you've got in terms of objects and how you represent them on your drawing.